The great philosopher Kenny Rogers said it. He said, "You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them." Come on, you know what's the rest? Come talk to me. Know when to.
Oh, really? You don't make me finish the entire verse
Finish
because
it.
I grew up. My father. Look, know when to walk away, know when to run. You can count your money when you're sitting at the table, but there'll be time enough for counting when the deal is done. Don't get me started.
Come on, man. Look, everybody don't know the whole thing. He said the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's what I'm talking
Nothing
about.
but the truth, man. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you you're about to be inspired, you're about to see the sound that you have inside you. I am absolutely I can't tell you. I'm already losing my words because I'm so excited. Look at this. I cannot wait for you to hear from this man, educator, musician, speaker, podcaster, and most important, I'm sure he will say, husband and father. Welcome, Mickey Smith Jr. to the God and Gig Show. How are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great now, man. It's good to be in the place, good to be in the space with you, man. And thank you for the invitation and the opportunity just to connect, man, just to be together. That's what makes these things so good. So to all the folks out there, wherever you may be and however you may be, I'm so glad that we can be together. And thank you for making this happen like you do so many things, man.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, like, this is where I try not to just turn into like the phone call where people are listening in like a fly on the wall and actually make sure that we're talking to them. Because when I first met you, brother, it was at a gig. It was up in West Palm where you now call home.
Indeed.
And I just immediately realized, okay, there's something different about this cat. Like, there's something different. We sat down at the table after playing. Number one, your playing was awesome. Then number two, when we got into a conversation, in less than 10 minutes, I was like, this is more than just another gig with another musician who just happens to sound good. This brother is deep. And so I am unpacking the layers, even now as we've been talking and learning more about each other. But I know for you, especially now during the podcast game, you have to do this a lot where you have to give everybody that's meeting you for the first time that elevator pitch in the first 30 seconds. And it's got to explain everything about you. This is the most ridiculous thing we do to everybody in this medium. But yet I have to follow conventions. So if they were not to listen to anything else in the next 30 to 40 minutes, what are the couple of things that you want them to know about you upon meeting on the first time?
I guess the biggest thing, man, is that honestly, there's nothing special about me and there's nothing special about any of us, but there's something significant about all of us. And that idea of significance is what carries you. The idea that we live in a world that talks about success, but really at the end of the day, success, as I define it, is being the best in the world. But being significant is being the best for the world. So my mission, my calling, my purpose is simple. You know, my heart is teaching, but my passion is helping people find theirs and operate in theirs. So whether it's a classroom, whether it's a boardroom, whether it's a stage, I believe that we all have a sound. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a band director. I'm not just saying that because I'm a musician. The sound I'm talking about is not an audible, but it's an internal significance that resonates with people. So when you can see your sound, it means that you can see the significance that's in you and around you. And that significance gives you the resilience to do what I call keep on going, which is what we need now more than ever. So that's who I am. Humbly, I'm just an individual from Bayou State who somebody saw a little something in me and provided me an opportunity to find my sound. And now through education, through speaking, through life, I've devoted myself to helping others do just that, to see their sound and to keep on going. And that's what we're going to talk about today, man. Just that what people need. So that's who I am. And I don't know. That's it, man.
Look, again, I could just hit stop right now and they would have gotten value in the first 5 minutes of this interview. That's what I'm talking about. So we do have to unpack, though, because you mentioned Bayou State. And obviously, if you're watching, you can see the red, you can see the hat, you can see this man is put together. So let's talk about a little bit about how that comes together. How do you get from the Bayou State? I'm assuming, and again, I don't know this story, so this is literally me learning for the first time. I'm assuming your love for music came in some way, shape, or form from where you were brought up, from that area. So where did your love of music, where did this first, if this was kind of like your first foray into the arts and creative life and like what it meant to you, did it come from where you started? And just explain a little bit about that, like how you got your beginnings.
Yeah, no, this is cool, man. I mean, I'm from a little place. Okay, all love to New Orleans. New Orleans is what people associate with Louisiana. But I'm probably about as far from New Orleans as a person can be. I'm actually from Southwest Louisiana, 20 miles from the Texas-Louisiana border. Still got that Cajun Creole flavor and all the soul that you imagine with Louisiana, but definitely a smaller community. But it's so interesting. I
Okay.
got a buddy of mine. He's a fantastic musician. Big shout out to Jacob Lowry. He does work with, plays bass with Michael McDonald, Reba McEntire, Michael W. Smith, like all these people. He'd never boast, but I'm a toot his horn. We were chatting, we ran into each other in the airport, and he made a comment that really resonated with me. Like all due respect, I've been around the world, I've been different places, but there's something about the place I grew up. There's something about the people there. Some of the most amazing musicians nobody has ever heard of happen in this place
Mm.
called Southwest Louisiana. I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know if it's something in the food. But there's something so powerful and significant there. So I was always exposed to that. But to be perfectly honest with you, I never had interest in music. I was more of an athlete growing up, and the community I was in, that's what you got celebrated for. So I was sweet. I was real nice on the court. I could tear you up on the track and field. And I'm actually a music school dropout. My mom put me in piano lessons, and I was doing okay with it because my mom always wanted to play piano, right? And I was doing okay, but then my friends laughed at me, man. And Alan, look, I'm gonna be honest, I tanked. I quit on purpose. And a
Wow.
couple years later, the only reason I joined band, a couple years later, my best friend across the street, Leroy, Leroy Blunt joined band, man. My man Leroy, anything Leroy did, I did too. We was thick as thieves, and we was, Ace Boone Coombs, man. We was just, you saw one, you saw the other. So when Leroy joined band to play trombone, I wanted to join too. And that's the only reason I joined, man. 2 years later, Leroy quit band. I kept on going, and the rest is history. Now I'm here today. But to be perfectly honest with you, man, I never really had big aspirations or dreams. I never saw a lot because the community I grew up in, I'm from a forgotten community called Mossville, Louisiana. You
Mm.
can't find it anymore. They bulldozed the whole town and built a chemical plant on top of it. So it doesn't even exist anymore. Okay. So growing up there, just to kind of give you that perspective, that we didn't see a whole lot that made us dream big. Good people, good heart, lots of love, but just not a lot of opportunity. So it wasn't like I sat up with musicians in my family or professionals that I saw or degreed individuals that kind of gave me some trajectory. I didn't see any of that, you know. But I did have a cousin growing up, cool cousin, Lisa. Lisa lived in Houston, Texas. And when I was 12 years old, she looked at me and she told me these words I'll never forget. She said, "You're going to win a Grammy." 12 years old. Now I'm out there squeaking and squawking, man. I can't even play. She said, "You're going to win a Grammy." Fast forward, I become a middle school band director. And, middle school band directors don't win Grammys, man. But little did I know there was an award that had just opened up, and they recognized educators who were also musicians and were making impact in the community and, different things like that. And somebody threw my name in the hat, man. And that's another story for another day, but somebody threw my name in the hat. And to my surprise, I made the top 10 from this little bitty town that nobody's ever heard of, little school that wasn't much anything. Here I am, top 10. And that started a process of development because I really wasn't worried about winning the award. What I loved was the process of it and what I learned about myself and the profession as I went along with it. So this started a journey that lasted about 6 years, man. And on the 6th year, I lost again. 6 years lost. And I went home, and what should have been a joyous occasion, because once again I made the finals, I found that my family was in tears. My daughter was crying, my son was crying, which made my wife cry, and they was all sad. They saw it as we lost. He lost. And I thought to myself in that moment, I said, I'm not doing this anymore because I really ain't really care about the award like that. Now it's bringing pain. So I just backed off of it. I said, I'm not going to do it again. I called Lisa, and Lisa told me 3 words after I went on and on about how I wasn't going to do it anymore. She said, "You done, Maestro?" She called me Maestro. I said, "Yeah." I said, "You got something?" She said, "I just got 3 words." I said, "What?" She said, "Keep on going." Now watch this. I didn't plan this. It just happens to be here. When I said keep on going, I actually had the little children's book that I had written and illustrated sitting right next to me on the little ottoman. I say, dang, she threw my words back at me, man. Look, Alan, you know how jacked up that is to say you gonna
Yeah,
quit.
your friends are your worst enemies or your best friends because they hit you with what you don't want to be hit with. The words that you don't, man, that is beautiful, brother. And look, no, okay, so
Hey,
just
man.
again, you give me too much to unpack in just that one part about number one. Let's go. Okay, let me just pick one at a time because my ADD can't handle it. All right. Here's the first thing. The part that you said about not having those role models at first, that place where people didn't celebrate necessarily that thing, right?
Yeah.
There's so many musicians, creators, entrepreneurs, and freelancers that we know that bemoan where they are. And they are like, I'm not in LA, I'm not in Atlanta, I'm not right. Because they feel because they're not surrounded by the right environment, that their environment determines their destiny. And here you are talking about how just one particular time and person and connection gave you that opening, and it wasn't you going viral on TikTok.
No.
It wasn't you. It was just you said, like you said, keeping on going with the one step and the one relationship that you just said, okay, I'm just going to keep going with this. And that is what's so powerful to me, because I feel as a artist, creative, right? I do the same thing. I look at everyone else that's doing big stuff and I start to compare.
Yeah.
Well, if I had these resources and these relationships, I'd be fine. So what do you say to the person that is where you were? Because I'm telling you right now, someone's listening. We're talking to our audience. We're preaching to the choir, right?
Indeed.
So anyone that's in that same space, but where you were at 12 and 13, but now they're 25, 26. Can you speak to them a little bit and just tell them why it's so important that they don't get so stuck on the resources that they think they don't have?
Because at the end of the day, we all have a sound. And when I say the sound, we all have a unique personal significance. Meaning, your sound is as an individual, as the thumbprint you hold. And sometimes if we get caught up in comparison, we miss the significance we hold. Instead of comparison, I think that contentment is so important. Now, what I didn't tell you was there's a gentleman by the name of Sean Ardoin. He's a 4-time Grammy nominee, fantastic musician. He don't like this story, but it happened. I'm going to go ahead and tell it. Sean actually tried to talk me out of teaching because he heard me on the saxophone. He only knew me as a musician in the town, in the area, right? And he was like, man, why are you wasting your time? So to speak, I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to make him out to be a villain.
I got you.
He was like, why are you wasting your time with this teaching thing when you could be out here making this money and getting and carving out this life as a musician? He said, because you gifted, man. You gifted. But a lot of times, man, to the people that are out there, you've got to be careful that you don't get too caught up on the gift or too caught up on the passion. See, there's a sweet intersection between gift and passion. Now, for individuals that are trying to figure out, okay, Mickey, you're talking in riddles. Listen, we all been in that person. You talking about preaching to the choir. We all heard the choir where they got the soloist, especially at church sometime, and they got Sister so and so, and she's got the passion, but no gift. My grandma called it joyful noise. Come on, Al, you know what I'm talking about. She got the passion.
Come on now.
But she ain't got no gift. But then watch this. There are some people who are able to combine that gift and that passion, and they're undeniable, as my colleague always says. What do I say by that? They're not really in the comparison game, because when you got gift and passion, people don't even really need to say your name. They don't need to say the whole name. Sometimes they say Whitney. They say Luther. They'll say Celine. Sometimes you got the gift and the passion. They don't even say your name. They just say MJ. Sometimes they ain't even got a name. They just say the artist. That's when you get into that sweet area where you have now found what you're passionate about, and you've coupled that with what you're gifted with. And when you do that, then life is not a competition. It's a collaborative, because now my sound with your sound creates an ensemble. But we can't be out here having flutes fighting with tubas. We can't have violas fighting with cellos. Like it's so crazy. As musicians, we understand balance. We understand ensemble, but sometimes we don't carry over those concepts into the personal. We understand it professionally. And what I'm telling somebody today is, you need to look in and dig deep and see what your sound is and rock with that. Why am I telling you that? Because Sean tried to talk me out of teaching. And what happened was, me and him had a little conversation. I'm pretty chill dude. Like if I ain't on the podcast, I'm pretty chill. If I ain't on the stage, I'm chill. And Sean just kept on like, man, you need to get out. I'm like, bruh, I love teaching. He was like, no, 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 man. You need to get your sacks. You need to do this. And he kept on and kept on until finally I said, hey, look, man, if you ever saw me teach, you wouldn't worry about my sacks. He said, ooh. I said, look, I ain't trying to be no kind of way, man. Everybody got that friend. He just kept on until finally. And then a year later, my man came in my classroom. He said, hey, can I swing by? I was like, cool. People used to come in my classroom all the time and observe and, just do stuff. So it wasn't anything weird. And Sean had been there before. He came in my classroom. He saw me teach. Class ended. The bell rang. The kids were like, yeah, they all left class. They high-fiving each other, dapping each other up. All right, Mr. Smith, we'll see you tomorrow. Sean walks up to me. He says, bruh. Now, there's no context. So I'm like, did he just stroke out? Like, what? He say, bruh. I say, what? He said, you don't remember this. He said, but last year you had a conversation with me. I tried to talk you out of teaching, and you tried to explain to me how this was your gift and your passion. He said, man, watch this. I'm never going to talk to you. I'm never going to talk to you again about leaving the profession. He says, but I'm going to nominate you for something. He says, I know you, Mickey. You're going to try to talk me out of it. Watch this. When I nominate you for this thing, just do it. And you'd have to know Sean. When he tell you to do something, he that dude. You just got to do it. And fast forward, what I didn't tell you was Sean was the one that nominated me for that Grammy. So I ended up being a finalist for it. All these years later, here I am. So I'm telling that individual today, it's so funny because Sean was trying to get me out of the classroom to win a Grammy, but staying in the classroom is what actually helped me get a Grammy. Look. Can I share something with you real quick? I know I already shared. Can I?
Please.
Okay, so look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I ain't no theologian. And look, I'm going to go ahead and drop this one. Look, don't get me out there. I ain't got them all memorized.
Go. Remember the first word. Remember the first word of the podcast. You in the right place.
Hey, that's it's just a way of life. I ain't saying I'm like I ain't the preacher, okay? But I do understand where the help come from. I was this week old when I finally really understood one of the most common scriptures. And look, there's gonna be people out there that like, man, Mickey, you ain't know that. But look, we only know what we know. My man say in Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We all know that one. All right, most of us know it. We heard it. You got the essence of it. But I always thought that had to do with conquering the big or the small. I didn't understand it was stay in your lane. Don't compare. Yes. Don't compare against others. Don't compare against what you thought happened yesterday. It says leading up to it, now that I speak in respect of want. Look, I got to read this. I ain't got this memorized. For what I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therefore, therewith to be content. So the whole thing is about being content. So your question was, Mickey, how can you not fall into the trap of comparison? It's to be content. Be content in the sound that he's given you. Be content in the sound that you carry. And then go out there and be that sound, because somebody needs that sound, because we all resonate at a different frequency. And I'm going to be honest, there's people I'm speaking to today, the words that are coming out of my mouth may resonate with somebody who may be a prior guest or, previous guest maybe did or didn't resonate with. And that's the beauty of it. It ain't a comparison. We all supposed to just rock our sound the way we're supposed to rock it so that this world becomes something it's never been before.
Brother, see, okay. Once again, I got to pause. All right, everybody pause. Selah. Let it soak in. All right. That's what it's for. Look, that's a musical term. We're going to go. You're going to go there. We're going to go there. I told you, you have to be, this is dangerous. Get us both in the same room. All right. So this is what I'll only add, not even add on. I will put, the comma on, because that scripture says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you said it. It's about contentment. It's about, I can handle rich. I can handle poor. The one thing that I always love to remind people that it also says, what it doesn't say, I should say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It does not say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me at the same time. Yeah. One thing at a time.
Oh, wait.
I can be rich. Look.
That's it.
The focus part, brother. The focus part. He says, what he's saying is I can do all things when that one thing is in front of me. But I can't be both this and that and this and that at the same time. The one thing that got the season that he has me in, here's where I'm going to be present. and it's so much of, again, I'm speaking to myself and speaking to everybody else that's listening. We are multi-passionate, multi-everything, right? Multi-hyphenate, all those things. You yourself. So the next piece I'm going to kind of slide into is, because you have so many things that are going on in your life as an educator, as a musician, as a family man. And I had this conversation in a previous podcast about this work-life balance word that I don't believe in, but I want you to address it. I don't want you to give you my thoughts. So what is the word that helps you, or the framework, I should say, that helps you handle all the things that God has put on your plate? Because he has gifted you and given you passion for several different things. So how do you manage that?
Man, that's good. Purpose and rhythm. You know, I think we're probably on the same page. I don't really believe in work-life balance. I don't think it's possible.
We're together. Yeah, that's why I want to put words in your mouth. But look, you're my twin from another. You're my brother from another mother at this point.
I'm feeling it, man, because I used to argue with a friend of mine, soon to be Dr. Valari Humphrey. Val, I call her Auntie Val. Val was real quick on that. She said, ain't no balance. Ain't no balance. I said, what you mean? She said, ain't no such thing as balance. I said, no, Val, look, I'm the musician guy. I'm like, no, there's balance. Just like in music, the sound pyramid, and, we got to have, I'm thinking this thing out way too deep, right? I'm like, and she said, yeah, I hear all that music stuff. She said, y'all music people, y'all weird. She ain't a musician. She said, y'all music people weird. She said, I'm trying to tell you. She said, there ain't no balance. She said, there's rhythm. I was like, huh? And I got to thinking about it. Success is really small things done well, stacked on top of each other over time. One thing at a time. And it's about knowing when to put those things. Look, the great philosopher Kenny Rogers said it. He said, you got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Come on, what's the rest? Come talk to me. Know when to...
Oh, really? You don't make me finish the entire verse, because I grew up, my father... Look, know when to walk away, know when to run. You can count your money when you're sitting at the table, for there'll be time enough for counting when the deal is done. Don't get me started.
Come on, man. Look, everybody don't know the whole thing. He said the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's what I'm talking about.
Nothing but the truth, man.
And look,
that's a songwriting. Yeah, man.
It got me thinking. So now I changed the whole way. I changed the whole way I do my day. I don't believe that we can have success by happenstance, but by habit stack, small things done well stacked on top of each other over time. So when I'm operating in my day, I got different ways that I see it. Because my friend Sean, he says you got to see it, say it, and get to work. So the way that we can visualize and conceptualize our day goes a long way. I got a buddy of mine, fantastic musician, fantastic keyboardist, man. And when we were in college, or when I was in college, he wasn't, and that kind of caused a little friction. At times. I didn't realize it, but I guess he was having some kind of feelings about maybe not being that musician. I would tell him, like, bro, there's cats I'm going to school with that can say read, but ain't nobody trying to hear what they saying. Like your stuff's sweet. And really at the end of the day, music is supposed to communicate. The whole idea of the theory and all that is to be able to go back and conceptualize and to study and improve and stack on it. But when you're in the moment of expressing music, I ain't never seen nobody moved by an actor that was reading. We commit the script to memory. We study our craft, but when you're in the moment, it has to emote, right? And I was explaining that to him, but one of the things I was showing him was, man, you got to go back and at least figure out how to read these chords, because you trying to store too much information up in your head. Like you dropping the ball as a husband and a father, and as a personal finance, because like you dropping those balls because you're trying to remember all this stuff. I need you to automate. I need you to delegate so you can elevate. And I think that just like with music, life is the same way too. As a teacher, I have to have a lesson plan. I don't teach scripted, but I do have to have a blueprint, just like building a house. And if I'm going to have a lesson plan, I think it's important to figure out, okay, what's my life plan for today? And that's why for me, I don't just plan out my day, but I put purpose in my day. I created a system and a structure for my day. And to kind of let you know how I balance everything, I create a rhythm. The start of my day is about priming my day. So all the time that I have from the time that I wake up to about 10 a.m. is priming. That's practice, that's prayer, that's planning, that's all the things. I started doing that because as a teacher, if I don't do that and if I don't pour into my cup, by the time the kids show up, I will have no time to pour into my cup. But the moment the kids show up, it's got to be all about them. Anybody who's not finding success in the classroom, oftentimes it stems from not being able to prioritize where you find your purpose. Because you can't find your purpose in the middle of doing something on purpose. It's got to be proactive,
Right.
right? So I got my day split up into three times. The starting point is the priming. That's from the time I wake up to generally 10. From 10 a.m. to 1, I call that 10 to 1, W-O-N, because I want to win, because every day is a Wednesday, W-I-N-S, right? So from 10 to 1, that's when my productivity, because studies show that that's the time of the day where you're thinking at your peak, you're thinking at your highest. Physically, you're probably feeling your best. So if I need to do something where I've got to really deliver, like say maybe, do a podcast interview, I'm going to try to do it at about 10 a.m. so that I know I'm firing at the highest level, right? Because that 10 to 1 p.m., W-O-N, is when I get the work done, right? That's the highest level. And then from 1 to done, that's my playtime. Now, it doesn't always work out that way because I'm a husband, I'm a father, right? But those things that maybe don't require, that have a little pliability, flexibility, I like to try to plan those things for that part of the day. And that way, I'm playing with house monies, like you say, like Kenny Rogers say, I'm playing with the house money because the dealing.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it every day. And that gives me a rhythm. I know when I get up in the morning, I'm making time to invest in myself. And once I make that deposit in myself, now others can withdraw without me going into overdraft. And then that allows the end of my day to be the best of my day because now I've gotten those things done. I have a sense of self, I have a sense of purpose, and I have a sense of accomplishment that allows my esteem to stay high, even though I live in a world that's always trying to tear down my esteem.
Okay. Again, I thought you saw me. Oh, I was looking down to take notes, not my phone.
Oh,
I literally wrote that down, bro. Not happenstance, habit stacks. Look, I'm gonna clip all this and just study it for the rest of the day so I can get myself together. Because I want to be honest. Again, the people, and I think right now I'm going to be very, very specific. And this might sound really strange, but because we both have communities where we know people who have bought in. You have people that are following you as you follow Christ, right? They're not following you because you're a celebrity or anything like that, but you are a teacher, you're leading by example. So I have the same thing in my community, God and Gig 360 Gold. And I'm talking to 2 or 3 people right now who have bought in, who are investing in themselves, and they are struggling with the thing you just said, which is, I know there's priorities, but there's so many things pulling on me that my esteem is dropping, that literally they feel like failures, even though they've achieved so much. And I just hope that they're going to clip that part and just say to themselves, okay, here's how I can segment my day, segment my energy so that the people that need it most get it at the time that they need it most. Because when I'm on the bandstand, let's talk about music for a second, especially as a teacher and as a band leader, right? Yeah. You cannot treat everybody on the stage with the same focus at the same time, just like in conducting and everything else. There's certain times that you turn, you're bringing up the teacher in me too, because right now I'm right back in my elementary school. I'm right back in my band room, right? So you turn and for that moment that you're trying to get that cue for that one entrance, everybody else in the orchestra, you've just broken eye contact. Mm-hmm. Right. So they are relying on themselves. But at this moment, like, I got to focus right here and bring this in. Boom. You're getting my full attention. But instantly you turn. And now the whole ensemble's back, like in your purview. Right. So I just need people to think that way in terms of our groups and our people, because I think sometimes I get frustrated with those who don't listen.
Yeah.
I've turned my focus to the bad one in the class that's getting all the attention, and the person that's trying to listen is getting no attention. So I'm so busy trying to get people that are just kind of not really buying in. They're not really taking what we're giving, the value that we're providing. And meanwhile, the people that are listening are the ones that struggle the most because they know what to do, because they've heard the podcast, because they've been to the TED Talk, and yet they still struggle with those same things. So that was more or less of a question, more just a comment for those who I know who are listening right now, because they listen to every episode and they're going to be following you. But they need that kind of encouragement, man, because they're trying. Yeah.
And it's so important, like, I hate to sound cliche, but cliches are there because there's truth in it, right? To those folks who say, keep on going. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? There's no overnight success. It's just over life success. So the whole thing about the comparison thing, when you're looking at folks, you got to look at the whole story. And then also understand this too. When you're talking about somebody's story, Even the best book got a few bad chapters. Even the best book got a
Yep.
few pages where you just like, man, even the best movie in the world got a spot or two. You get up and go get some popcorn. Do you throw the whole book away? Do you walk out on the show? No. Everybody hangs out. It's so funny, like when you talk about like Marvel and stuff like that, not only do people stay for the show, these jokers stay after the credits because you never know what's gonna pop up. You always know, hey, let me wait. They're gonna give a little teaser or a little something that's coming up. And so many times in life, we overlook the credits. We don't understand that every opportunity is another opportunity for another opportunity. So I'm telling somebody today to keep going because your story's not finished and you can't judge the totality of the story off of the page that you're sitting on right now. And when we
Mm.
talk about our stories are really created out of systems. When you see something you admire, you're seeing a system of something, right? Right. So we talk about the habit stacks, right? As opposed to the happenstance. Small things done well stacked on top of each other over time. So I'm flying to a gig in look, Cabo. Is that how they say it? Cabo, right? So I'm going to
Yeah.
Cabo. So as we're flying over, there was something we saw, like the plane went down for a little bit and came back up. Not crashed, but like my man took us down a little bit to see something. I'm really not sure what we were looking at, but it wasn't like a Mayan temple, but it was some type of structure that was pretty impressive. I mean, we could see it obviously from high elevation, but there was a guy next to me. He kind of a know-it-all, but he was cool. He was cool to be on the trip with. Apparently he took this trip a lot. He was telling us everything about everything. But in this case,
Got
it
it.
was actually kind of cool because he said, hey, I've been down there before. He said, don't that look like a big structure, like big blocks and stones? I'm like, yeah. He said, nope, it's actually little small stones that they fitted together. And that was really where I came up with that concept of small things done well stacked on top of each other. Because if you keep stacking these things, it becomes a wall of excellence. But then if you keep stacking it, eventually it becomes a tower of greatness. And the tower is what people see. But really, if you look carefully, I don't care how great the tower, it's usually the culmination or the accumulation of these small habits, these small routines, these small systems. And I'm like this, man. A lot of times we follow people online and we see people's social media and we can tell them everything. We can tell people everything about other people. But when I ask people, who are you? Matter of fact, real quick, knock, knock.
Who's there?
I am.
I am
That's
who?
the question.
Whew.
In all you're seeking, that's the question. I am who? Because knowing I am who is not getting away from the I am, right? Because we're in his image. So a lot of times we get so deep, we get so religious, sometimes we do ourselves a disservice. Sometimes we being humble, but it's really humble, B-U-L-L, right? He didn't put us in this thing called life to live it anything other than abundantly, right? So abundant life, if we're going to live it to the fullest, I think we do ourselves a discredit and a disservice if we do not become students of ourselves. Because if we begin to understand what systems work for us and what systems work within us, then we increase our competence, which then increases our confidence. And when you have greater confidence, music teacher, then the student is more eager to go get more competence. And when they get more competence, then they get more confidence. And the confidence is so important because I think the greatest sin we have that we can commit is self-doubt. That was the original sin
Mm.
because Adam and Eve, he told them straight up who they were. And then here to come the little snake, here come the enemy. He going to tell them they not the very thing that they already
Are
were.
you
So
sure?
they
Are you
exercised a
sure?
level of self-doubt, which caused the whole thing to fail. And I believe every day we wake up with an opportunity to walk in purpose. Walk in purpose. So I think taking time to really become a student of yourself and understand your systems puts you in a position to win like nobody's ever won before. Not saying that you're going to be the greatest, because again, success is being the greatest in the world. But when I say win, I'm talking about significance, becoming the greatest version of yourself for the world.
It's so beautiful. And the one thing I know that you deem as your most significant role is in your family. And I cannot tell you how impressed, proud, inspired I was to see your family on stage with you at this recent event that you did over there in West Palm. Man, how good did that have to feel to know that you're not only impacting young lives in the classroom, but those lives that you literally brought into existence, and that they are following in your footsteps, man. Talk a little bit, brag a little bit about your family. Talk a little bit about why is that? What have you poured into them that has created the significance that they clearly feel, that they clearly have said, hey, Dad, I'm following your footsteps. I want to do this because I see how beautiful and how amazing it is when you've done what you've done.
Well, man, I'm just blessed and I'm grateful because it didn't have to be this way. I'm blessed and I'm grateful because I teach every day and I see so many kids that don't have what we deem to be so valuable, those positive relationships. I'm grateful and I'm blessed because I have friends who don't have their children anymore, that their lives were taken too soon. So sometimes it's pain, not hope, that brings the best opportunities. Sometimes it's pain, not hope, that brings the best perspective. So I'm proud, but I think the better word for me personally is I'm incredibly grateful because it didn't have to be this way. Statistically, it shouldn't even be this way. So every day we get on
Yeah.
stage, I'm just so grateful. And I'm also grateful because life be lifing, man. Because about, I don't even know, man, I could say 5 years ago, this was not a reality. 7 years ago, this was not a reality. Because although my wife and I are both musicians, we met in college. She was in the band. She played French horn. I played saxophone. Proximity one. Those people that know orchestration of music. I ain't had no game. I just happened to be close. Thank God for the French horn being close
Come
to
on.
saxophone. I was
Hey, I
born.
love it, man. Hey, and so just so you know, quickly, proximity also works whenever you're the accompanist and your future wife is the singer. It
Hey,
works.
hey, won't he do it?
You will, and he did, and he's still doing
Still doing
it.
it. Well, me and my wife, we've been partners, so to speak, in this thing I call Sax in the City, and the sax for me is my ministry. It's my way to be a blessing. So Sax in the City, folks think it's one thing when they hear it, but really it just means ministry in the city because we were operating in church. My wife was an amazing choir director and singer and all that kind of stuff, but it hit me. There's some people, for whatever reason, whether it's hurt, whether it's past experiences, whether it's perception, there's certain people that ain't gonna come in them four walls. I don't care what it is. They're
Yep.
not coming in until somebody carrying them in, unfortunately, right? So sometimes they won't come there till six strong men bring them. So what I realize is
Mm.
sometimes we have to create opportunities to bring the ministry to them. That's what Saxon City was. That's another talk for another day. But Saxon City was my wife and I doing our thing, primarily me doing the sax thing. She would be featured on a song or two. And then we had our daughter begin to sing with us. And she hated it. Oh, with a passion. I tell folks she had a drug problem. I drug her to every gig. And she sing background music and I make her sing jazz. And she say, ooh, that's old people music. I can't stand that jazz. Meanwhile, my son, he too little. He ain't even playing. He being babysat back at home. So what you saw at that jazz festival, again, no overnight success over life success. That was the first time we had all been on stage together like that. First time ever. Because my son now is old enough. He has a skill set. He plays trumpet. He's been wanting to be a part of it. Now he can. Fast forward, my daughter, who didn't even want to sing. This is another talk for another day. You need to have her on one day. Tell her story. She went
Yo.
from not singing, not wanting to sing in the birthplace of jazz, Louisiana, to moving down to South Florida, to being named Downbeat Magazine's top young vocalist, being on the cover of Downbeat Magazine. Pretty good for a reluctant singer. To now she's been selected for the Songbook Academy. She's doing amazing things. She's now getting her first feature performance. She's going to be performing at an event here real soon with her own band. Like it's her thing. Daddy ain't got nothing to do with it. It's her own thing. And here we all on the stage together. And it's just a reminder that if you don't quit, if you don't give up, if you don't faint, if you keep doing the good work, don't get weary in your well doing. In due season, you'll reap that harvest, that reward, but only if you keep on going. That's what I saw more than anything. Yeah, there's pride that there's that your kids are doing well and they're following in your footsteps. But I feel like, success leaves trails, but at the same time, I feel like they're paving their own path. It's been interesting because they're doing things I wasn't doing when I was 12, when I was 20, you
Mm.
know.
Man, look, I'm so again, I'm reminded of how grateful I am when you say it. And it really is. It stacks the same way that you said that those habit stacks, the gratefulness stacks, the gratitude stacks. And the fact that I can look back on my 27 years and look at that, look, this is nothing but a miracle 3 times, right? I tell people all the time, I've been
Yeah.
married 3 times just to the same woman
Yeah.
without a divorce. So
Yeah.
look, and 3 children.
Yeah.
We're going again, like 3 different stories where everything should
You're
have gone
right,
off the
because
rails,
it's
and
different
now
chapters. The story gonna change whether you want it to or not.
this is going to change. There's going to be cliffhangers every other week, dude. Cliffhangers every other week. We say, wait, we're going to watch what's going to happen tomorrow, because yes, that part. And the reason why I want to like just remind people that this is so key to your success and your significance, even better word, significance, as we're saying, is because you're constantly not looking back, but you're looking. You're looking at what you have here and making sure you're always giving gratitude for it, without looking back with nostalgia. And that's what I'm trying not to go. It's not nostalgia. It's not I wish I had. It's what do I have right now. And then go ahead.
2 most powerful words. English language. Luther said it. Here and now. Here and now. When you just really think about what you just said, if we can get a perspective and a purpose that points to here and now, then comparison is not a thing anymore. Jealousy is not a thing anymore. Insecurity, inadequacy is not a thing anymore. Mickey, how can you be so certain? Because music teaches us that. Music is one of the few things that you have to be absolutely present to perform it.
Yes.
If you're thinking about what you did in measure 4, that mistake, I promise you're about to jack up something. If you think too far ahead to the next song, you're not going to deliver it with authenticity. You have to be absolutely present. And I think that's why there's a joy that can't be quantified or explained when you're operating in this music thing, especially when you're doing it at a high level, when you spent the time practicing to now you've removed those barriers and you can fully communicate authentically through that medium, through that instrument, whether it's your voice, whether it's an instrument per se, a woodwind instrument or a brass or percussion or whatever it is. When you facilitate the music so well that you can't separate yourself from the music, now you find yourself in this sweet space. Some people say the zone, but it's actually it's just being here and now in a way that few people, I think, really intentionally go about living life. Can I share something with you, man?
Please.
I believe you made me think of something just now. I believe that idea of presence is the present. It's the gift, right? That idea of being present is the gift. And when we think about being present and having presence, it's the difference between being a victim and a victor. Okay? So my wife, she loved me, but I had concerns early on. I'm gonna be honest. Because every time we went to bed, she was watching this stuff, Alan. Like she was watching like Snapped, Homicide, the True Life Investigation, Unsolved Mysteries. She was watching Dateline, How to Get Away with Murder. It's like, what? I can't rest easy. What are you doing? I just feel like if the shoe is on the other foot, I don't think that bodes well for us. Like I think there's gonna be an investigation. So I called a buddy of mine. I'm like, dude, he's a little bit older than me. I'm like, man, should I be concerned? He's like, Mickey, stop tripping. She's like, a lot of them watch that, right? And I went back and I found out, okay, a lot of females particularly do watch these shows. So anyway, coming up on 21 years, I think we good, right? So nothing happened.
You're still here, yes. If she wanted to get that done, she would have done it a long time ago. You wouldn't be here.
So we good. But one of the shows she watched was Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and my man Ice-T, he used to say this thing like it sounded so slick back in the day. He didn't say the victim, he said the Vic. Right? And it just sounded so slick. I know it's terrible. I know it's like the person's dead, but he made it sound so cool, man. Like if you gonna be dead, man, I'm gonna be the Vic, right? And I'm like, I thought about it, and I share that with you because every day my intention is to be a Vic. I remember those worksheets where you had the choice of how you finished the word. They give you a partial spelling of the word, and you had to finish it.
Yeah.
And I think every day, the life we live is the completion of that. Are you going to be a victim or a victor? And in order to be a vic, I believe you have to have vision, intentionality, and consistency. If you have those three things and you operate, not, like I said, not accidental, but intentional living. I can't tell you how many people I ask, man, what's happening today? Man, I don't know, man. Man, we'll see, bro. You know. No, I don't know.
Yes.
And apparently you don't know either. And I'm not saying we have to know all things, but what I am saying is when you wake up in the morning, I am who? What is your purpose? I can promise you, I don't know what's going to happen today, but I know this. I engage, I educate, and I elevate every learner to excellence through music so that they know they're loved, valued, and wanted. That's what we're doing right now. That's my mission statement. That's my XYZ statement is what I call it. I know that if it's talking about my children, I know that I provide and I protect William and Michaela so that they can discover their dreams and live out their purpose. Now, when I understand what I'm doing, now I have a rubric that allows me to see if I was successful or significant. Because with the thing I just outlined, especially in a classroom, I engage, educate, and elevate every learner to excellence through music. Now I know exactly what I'm doing. I know who I'm teaching. Every learner, not just the one I like, not just the one I just love. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Some of them kids, I love them, but I don't like them.
Yo.
I don't like what you're doing right now. I
never
love you.
lied.
The book say I got to love you, but I don't like you right now. But the cool thing is, watch this, regardless of how I feel about them, my mission is for all of them and not for them to learn a scale or an arpeggio. Those are just the vehicles. Oh, we want to get the standards covered. But that's not the end goal. If that's the end goal, now I'm going to be incredibly disappointed because how many of my kids will grow up to be that musician? So if I'm holding the success standard to that, now can you see how I feel like a disappointment? Now can you see how I'm burning out as a teacher because I don't feel like I'm getting anything done? But if I make my destination destiny, the Z, if I make the end result that they know they're loved, valued, and wanted, even if that joker can't play in tune, but he feels that his heart is in tune with who he is. Now I've won. He may figure it out later, but I've done what I needed to do because at the end of the day, it's not just about the subject matter. For me, it's about showing them that they matter. This is what allows me to understand my role and operate in it with significance. So I got a problem with somebody who wakes up in the morning who's been given this day. This is the day that's been made, tailor-made for you. And you don't try it on with vision. You don't try it on with intentionality. You don't try it on with consistency. I promise you'll get that suit tailored. You're gonna rock that bad. You're gonna find somewhere to go with that one. You ain't finding nowhere to go with this thing called life. I'm telling you today, you don't have to have all the answers. I just need you to answer the call each day with vision, intentionality, and consistency.
Man, okay. We have to drop the mic on all of this because, well, the fact that you don't have to drop the mic on us because he's got a podcast where you can continue to hear this. So I'm going to give that, but I just have to give you this last little thing, brother, because what you just shared about the vision and knowing exactly what it brought up Habakkuk to me, Habakkuk 2, where it says, write the vision. Here's the thing that's been helping me, and you just helped me as well, where it says, write the vision and make it plain so they may run who read it. Mm-hmm. And you know why many of us are not running? It's because we haven't read the vision. And you know why we haven't read the vision? It's because we didn't make it plain like you just made it plain. And you know why we haven't made it plain? Because we never wrote it down. And the fact that you just spelled it out, for somebody listening, they need to go right now, take what you just shared, write it down, make it plain to themselves so that they can quote it and say it to themselves, right? With that same kind of intensity and focus. And then run. Start running. Read it first. You got to read it every day. And then start running, man. Start moving with this because this is not just possible for Mickey, even though he is clearly gifted and passionate. It's not just possible for me now that I can say this with very, very humbly. Now that I realize that God has gifted me for this particular position in my life, right? Now that I know that I'm starting brands and starting podcasts and playing and doing, and I'm in that zone that God has gifted me to be in. I have a space for the grace that I'm in right now. now you know that should be something that you should be walking in as well. So Mickey, thank you for inspiring us, brother. They got to get more of this. So tell us where you're sharing it, how they can stay connected with you, and how they can continue to keep on going with you and your message.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And put this down on paper too. Why? Because paper remembers what Alan forgets. Paper remembers what Mickey forgets. Because life.
Look, I'm gonna show it right now for those who are watching.
Yeah, life is out here trying to make us forget stuff. So don't forget who you are. And
two most powerful instruments, man.
You can't.
So what is it? A sharp pencil is better than a dull memory.
Oh, I like that. That's it.
Look, don't get us started, man. We gotta stop.
Man, I'm telling you, this has been a blessing, and really, it's no form or fashion other than to add value. That's what I try to do every day, and I got a few different platforms that I try to add the value with. I feel like in life, either you're a producer or a consumer. So on social media, I try to produce a signal that's sound and that helps people's resilience. So if you follow me on any social media platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever they call it this week, all them things, just go to Mickey Smith Jr. You can also find me on the website as well and find out more about the Keep On Going tour. Just a powerful mission that we have right now to share keynotes and concerts in a compelling way to help people keep on going across our country through a motivational mixture of message and music. You can find out more on the website at MickeySmithJr.com, and all those things, so easy to remember. It goes like this: MickeySmithJr.com. All right, so go check it out and let's partner, because at the end of the day, life is better when we band together. And anything that I can be of service to you, wherever you may be, and whatever you may be doing, I want to be in the business of you and partner with you, just as Alan. We bond right now, so I appreciate this, and I look forward to continuing the journey. And thank you so much for all you do, man. Thank you so much for all you do.
Yeah, brother, this has been more than a blessing, man. This has been an iron sharpens iron moment, and you are made of the same stuff, brother. I appreciate you. Love you so much. And everybody, again, follow those links. They're all in the show notes, in the descriptions. So go clicky. Go follow everything we just talked about and all the links he just gave, because this is going to bless your life continuously. Mickey, my brother, thank you again, man. We're going to have to do this very, very soon again. My friend, thank you for watching this episode. If that blessed you, you got to make sure that you stay connected with this community and this channel so that you can get more where that came from. We're sharing great interviews, tactics, strategies, mindsets, lifestyle choices, everything that's going to help you become a totally confident creative. And don't miss an episode of the God and Gig Show. If you are staying connected to our channel, you'll be able to find us anytime we release new episodes. And you can check out some of our archives of almost 200 episodes now that we've shared over the last few years. Make sure you check out one of the suggestions right now, because it's probably perfect for you to continue to develop as a creative. And continue to stay connected with us, because we're here to help you become the creative that God created you to be. We'll see you in the next episode.